A, B, K, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, A, P, Q, R, S, T, A, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, so now that we know how the letters are supposed to sound, I want to tell you that, first of all, the letters of the alphabet have some of them have numerous sounds. For example, A actually has 3 sounds. It can say A, it can say A, and it can say Ah. However, a kindergartner does not need to know all 3. They need to know A all the way to the end of the school year. They will not learn until 1st grade when it says A, the long sound, and when it says Ah, okay? When everything is so new for a kindergartner and they're learning how to try to remember all their sounds, how to put them together, I do not throw all 3 sounds. Now, that being said, most reading programs will throw all 3 at you. Well, I say most, a lot will, some won't, some just start with that. If you are using a program that has them learn all 3, A, Ah. E is E, or sometimes I. Doesn't mean you have to do it, right? So your curriculum is going to have them. There are some. There's one I absolutely love that I want to tell you about, all about reading. Hands down, the best one I've ever used, and I'll talk about why later. I love everything about their program, except I don't teach them all the sounds. So when it says on the flashcard that you're going to do with them, or that comes with that, if whoever chooses that, the back of it will say A, Ah. I just say A. I just say K. I don't say K and S, right? I don't say all the sounds that they teach. I only teach them the first sound, because in kindergarten, all they need to know for all the reading they're going to do is the first sound. So while it's new, while it is complicated, while they're trying to put everything together and sound out, I don't teach them all the sounds. I teach them the very first sound. Now, when we get to 1st grade, it's all a different ballgame. In 1st grade, after they have been established, after they are solid in sounding out b, ag, bag, it, mit, and they're like clockwork, and they're doing well, then I say, and you know what? In the beginning of 1st grade, I say, this little A here, this actually has more than one sound. It actually says A as its first sound, but it can also say A and Ah. And let's see where those words are used. But why would I teach them a year earlier? I see absolutely no reason. It has absolutely no bearing on a kindergartner being able to read. Keep it simple. One sound. Its very first sound is all they need to know for kindergarten. So there is that. Now, when they're learning their sounds with flashcards, I do use flashcards, okay? So I do not run through the whole alphabet all at once. I have a general rule of thumb. I never teach more than 3 new sounds at any given time. So say your kiddo has 5 sounds that they know really well. Go ahead and pull in 3 sounds that they don't and teach them, mix them in, and every day you do those sounds, right? If after a few days, they know 2 of those sounds, those new ones that you put in, go ahead and grab 2 more. So each time you do your flashcards, there's no more than 3 that are new or that they're struggling with. And don't add any more until they are solid with at least 1 of them, and only pull in 1. Or if they get really good at 2 of them, you pull in 2 new ones, but never more than 3. And here's why. If you have 10 new sounds and you're practicing them with them and they get them wrong a lot, every time they get it wrong, they have to do it several more times right to learn it the correct way. And it takes a lot longer to learn those sounds. So I never have more than 3 new sounds at a time, but I always review the ones that they know. So I may have a stack of 10, 3 of them are 3 of them are new sounds that they struggle with, and I help them and I tell them ahead of time. And I'm going to show you how to do that. The ones that I know that they know, we go through and we review every day. Now here's why. What you're doing is you're making pathways in their mind of automaticity. Every time they learn it right, every time they say it right, they're making a pathway. And every time they say it wrong, they're making another pathway. You want that accuracy. So before you go for speed, before you're like getting them flying through it, you want accurate every time. So I'm going to model for you how to do that. So give me 1 second. So these are the flashcards I used with all of my older kiddos. It's not the ones I use with my last one. I use the all about reading ones, but these ones are easier to flip down and show you, bigger for the camera. So say this is how, say my kiddo is right in front of me, and he would say ah, s, ah, f. And he gets to this one, and he's looking at it. Don't wait too long. And if he doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it, say, yeah. If. I look at that one. He goes, nice. X. W. Right? You correct him, you say it right, but I make a mental note. So tomorrow, before he says it wrong, I'm going to say it right. And I might do that for a couple of days so that he learns it right first, because every time they say it wrong, they've made a pathway. Okay. And I always like to be proactive and tell them ahead of time. Now, some kids have a hard time with getting help. Okay. They want to do it all themselves, and they're very offended if you try to help them. So I try to be sensitive to what works for them. However, there are those that even though they are offended, they will still get it wrong every time and not want the help. And with them, I gently talk to them and say, listen, my job as your mom or your teacher, and I've done many, is to help you. Now I've noticed that you have gotten this one wrong a lot, and it's I tell them, I explain this to them, because I'm sorry, it helps to bring them on board so they know why. I don't always explain everything to kids, but when it comes to learning, them knowing and understanding, if it's possible, helps them. So what I do is I tell them, listen, what you're doing, every time you say it wrong, you're making a pathway in your mind that it makes it harder to unlearn the next time. So for the next couple of days, I'm going to help you say it the right way so that you can make that right pathway in your mind so you can get that word right. And in that way, I'm helping them and I'm showing them why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that generally is all I need to do, is to say, listen, I'm here and I want you to do it right. I want to help you. I want to encourage you. And I see that you're struggling with this. And generally, that's all they need. Okay. So that's how I do it. And so say these are the ones that they know really good. Okay. I will only add 3. And the way I add it is say this. Say I add D and F. okay? Say they already have one in there they don't know, and these are the two new ones. So I will lay it down and I will say, all right, this is duh. Say duh. And they say it and they go duh. I say, yeah, okay, try again. Duh. Make them say the duh sound, not the schwa duh, okay? Then, and they say duh. Try to mix them, right? Sometimes I'll lay it down on the desk. Can you see the desk, Jude? Point it down so they can see. And I'll put it on the desk and I'll say, all right, what is this one? And they'll say, duh, duh. And they're the ones I'm pointing and they're the ones saying it back and forth. And then I put it in that stack and that took me all of, say, 20 seconds. I mix it up. And that's it for the day. Now, flashcards usually never take more than 1 minute. It's something quick, but it's something absolutely necessary for kiddos to learn their sounds. So the last thing I'm going to tell you about letters. There's lowercase letters and there's uppercase letters. Now, you and I know them as uppercase, lowercase, right? Or capital. For kiddos, it's really helpful for them to be able to make a connection. So I'm gonna tell you something, you might think I'm a whack, but little kids, when they can connect to things and make meaning from it, they learn so much better. So one of the things I did with my kiddos is instead of calling them uppercase and lowercase, or capital and lowercase letters, I would say, I would pull out the capital letters and I would say, these are the daddy letters, or these are mommy letters, or these are big people letters, whichever one is you're comfortable with. And the lowercase letters, I called them the baby letters, okay? Or the little kid letters. Now my kids never said little kid, but the point is there was the babies and there was the daddies. And it could be animals if you want, it could be anything that they can make a connection to. The mama dog and the baby dog, doesn't matter, okay? Lowercase and uppercase. Now that, I agree, sounds wacky, but they make a connection and they understand the difference between the two. So that is how I teach all the letters. Now, once they know all 26 letters, first sound only, not the rest. Once they know all 26 and they know them accurately, that means they don't make a bunch of mistakes. You want accuracy first. Do not go for speed until they know them totally accurate. But once you say, you know what, little guy, you are just whipping these out. You know them so good. Now it's time to go for speed. I'm going to show you how quickly they should be able to know them before you start sounding out words. Now here's the deal. Just because they can say them accurately does not mean they're ready to start reading. And here's why. I'm going to model for you what happens when they don't know, when they only know accurately the sounds of them, but they don't know automatically. So you have the word mat, at, right? And they look at that and they're reading it in their book and they go like this. T. Well, it took a little while, right? But they knew it. They got them all right. By the time they get to t, they don't remember what they started with. And then they go back to the beginning and they do it again. That creates frustration. Or they say it wrong. And then, I got it wrong. So to set them up for success, first you go for accuracy, 100% accuracy, 99%, okay? You want them to know them good. And once they do that, then you go for speed. And you want them to know them. I'm gonna grab these over here. This is about how fast you want them to know them. W, t, k, r, p, zzz. If they know them that fast, then when they see that word mat, it's at. Oh, mat. And they can put it together. But if it takes them a long time, nope. They can't hear it. They've already forgotten the first sound by the time they get to the end. So I will probably go through the entire alphabet and from A to Z, just so you can go for speed. And once your kiddo knows accuracy, you can get faster with those cards. And if you're using a certain deck of cards that is hard to go fast with, you can use my video, because I'm going to do it at a pretty good clip where they can practice all the way through a, b, k, d. So you're welcome to use it for that if you like.